Who's this right. The next guy coming up is the guy who actually started Warzone. His name is Tommy Rat. When we started the band, Ray Bees was on drums, and Tommy was the original singer. And this is probably the oldest song we're gonna do. It's called Take a Stand.
All right, what's up, everybody?
Give it up for Tommy Rat!
Ray Bees! This one's called Take a Stand! I got eyes on this road! But I just touched it as I'm wrong! People get me watching you shine! And then people in the side! Now for that!
Take a stand!
Let me down!
Take a stand!
What is that?
Take a stand!
Now for that! It's the end! Looking for the easy way out! Now the drawing has to go look at you! Now the drawing has to go look at you! Now for that!
Take a stand!
Let me down!
Take a stand!
What's the name? Down the rock! Number 9!
Take a stand! Take a stand!
What's the name?
Take a stand!
Do you die? For it's too late! Never give in! All right!
Rat poison, everybody!
Baby!
Conditioned by indoctrination, conditioned by society. You're a victim of the digital age, a 21st century casualty. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Conditioned by misinformation, it's just the media telling us lies. There's lots of fiction from the truth. Society's slow and tragic demise. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Everyone's got their fucking opinion.
What's happening? And welcome once again to the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Here we go. You know, I gotta say, watching that opening clip, made me really sad in a certain way to see my old friend Todd Youth. You know, Todd Youth was a great band leader. He was. He did a lot of things like that Ray Bees tribute show and a Bad Brains thing that I was a part of at Bowery Electric and a Black Flag thing. He could put a band together and be the band leader and run the show. He was very talented in that regard. Very, very much missed character. What's going on, Brian Matson, brother? Hey, Jess, what's happening? Are you in America? Nice to see you. I hope things are well. Chris Zinel, what's up, brother? All right, good. Lori Dawn on the Cape, Sarah Kearns, Debo the Pro, shouting out New York Hardcore Comics. New York Hardcore Comics in need of support right now. So if you're thinking about getting a gift or something, reach out to New York Hardcore Comics, our great sponsor. The show was killer on Sunday. It really was. And speaking of that killer show on Sunday, let's bring on this guy. What are you in a friggin' spaceship?
The next station is Hunters Point Avenue.
I don't believe you.
I'm in LIC. Here you go. Let's see if you can see. Oh, you can't see. It's too sunny.
I thought you were like in a capsule of a space station, like you were going to another planet or something.
Houston, we have a problem. This is actually our first Wednesday that I'm in the new location.
Yeah, Wednesday shows. You know, we don't do a lot of Wednesday shows these days. You know, we do Wednesday shows when we have a Bowery Electric show.
Exactly.
And,
Exactly. And it was a
So-
good one. It was a good one.
You know what? Here, let's do a couple of pictures. Here's. Let's start with this one. Let's set the table with this one. This is sort of. Excuse me? Are you on a moving train?
It's not moving yet, but it will be.
So here's a shot from Sunday. This was after the fact. This was sort of like the crew there, you know.
Nice.
Fucking great friggin' show, man. It was. Let's see. Let me find a couple of good shots. Well, I'm gonna poke around a little bit, but here's one band that played. Why don't you tell us who this is? Boom.
This is our friends in Ancient Domains. Actually, I really like this band a lot. Actually, and of course John Viviano. Former Super Touch. I mean, they just really, I really like this band. I really like that.
Well, it's basically Super Touch with Matt from Bold singing.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's Super Touch with Matt from Bold singing.
It's super bold.
Super bold.
It's bold touch.
It's bold touch. And,
they're really good. That was just one of. Who do we got next?
Yo, one of the hardest front people in the business. Hard. You want to talk about a hard front person? Right here. Hard. Yep.
Layla. Yeah, in fact, they you know what? She always delivers too. And
Layla from Concrete Ties, hard.
She's like 5 feet of fury.
She's like, Wah.
Yeah.
She's hard.
Yeah,
man.
no, they were awesome. They were,
They
did, and it was good to see them. I remember the last time they played, they didn't have a bass player, and Freddie jumped in and saved the day.
Yeah.
But
and then also here's a shot of some of the people that it was a great day, man. It was dare I say it was a magic moment there, and I'll tell you about it. But Chaka from Burn and Orange 9, friend Rich Solar, Tim.
Yep. Two of the great photographers right there.
Yeah. So
yeah, this was a starting with Deadshot, who it occurred to me, while they were playing that was the band that jumped up on stage with Civ at the Highline at the Bowery Ballroom when Civ and
welcome to the party, bro.
Right. No, but it was funny because when
why do you think I booked them?
Because you like the youth of today.
Hey, Kelly Cal. Okay,
but
no,
yeah,
we booked them because me and Larry we saw them and we were like, yo, let's get those kids to play.
Yeah, which was cool because at the time I was like, who are these kids like seizing the stage? And they were really good. They were definitely really good. And
here's a shot of me introducing. It's about to jump off right here.
Stickman.
Yeah. I like a lot the sort of 2024 version of Stickman. He's great, man.
I like your introduction. You said there was a time when I invited chaos into my life.
Yeah. There was a time where I just had a penchant for chaos.
Yeah.
Here's a great shot right here. Come on. There you go.
Yeah, I thought they were great. And honestly, I thought they were better at the Bowery than they were at Irving Plaza. I thought they really brought it.
They fucking, dude,
yeah.
It was bananas. There was a moment, and thank you, Larry Kelly, for he posted in the chat room and reminded me. So usually, and there's Jay Fury from Fury 5. Usually, the way it goes is, when a band plays, right, I introduce the band from the stage, and then I walk across the dance floor before the chaos erupts, you know, and I go right upstairs to just, you know, make sure, you know, just get upstairs to make sure everything's cool upstairs. If there's any stragglers, tell them, yo, the band's playing. That's sort of my routine. This was the first time ever in the 50 shows, somewhat shows that we've done, that
2, I think, yeah,
that I introduced Fury of 5 and went upstairs, and there was not a single person up in the bar upstairs or outside hanging out in front of the club. I'm not exaggerating. There was 2 bartenders behind the bar, no one else, including the merch people, not a single person upstairs in the venue. And then I look outside and there wasn't a single person outside. That's never, ever happened before. And Fury of 5, they were just unbelievable, man. They absolutely, they crushed. They destroyed the planet Earth. They were fucking great.
You know what I like about them is it's one of those bands where every part is moving. Everybody's moving. And it's like, it's almost like when you see Sick of It All, like everyone is just all over the place. And it makes it so much fun. Like, they really was so much fun, you know? And this is another good shot. Which we can't forget, of course, Freya.
Yep.
Also,
they were great.
They were great. They brought the heavy, you know,
and you know who showed up? Who showed up unannounced and DJ'd upstairs? Was Sid the Kid.
Yeah, I was actually surprised because I was like, I thought we had, you know, but I thought maybe this is a new thing. We're gonna do double DJs from now on.
Well, it was cool. We had Spike Polite DJing downstairs and Sid was DJing upstairs. It was pretty great. It was great.
Might have to do that from now on.
Maybe. And I just want to say, while we're here kind of discussing this stuff, the next show that we're doing down at the Bowery is Sunday, September 15th. And this bill's serious delirious. It's Scream, Rebelmatic, Butterbrain with Angelo Moore from Fishbone, the Errorists at Lake Lanier, and DJ Sid the Kid. So this could be the wildest show ever.
Oh, it's going to be definitely.
Yeah.
It definitely is, and
Yep.
And people passing through.
Yeah.
But you know what? It's pretty cool. Speaking of Lake Lanier, is when I went down to the Seaport last weekend, they have this beautiful big punk rock exhibit over there, and there is like a big 12-foot photograph of our friend Mia on the wall, right next to Patti Smith, and it's really cool. It's very cool. So.
Hey yo, Steve, any graffiti along the LIRR to New York City?
Funny you should say that. We just heard that one of the yards got hit and they tagged the whole train, so I'm waiting to see pictures.
Wow.
Somebody climbed a fence.
Where, in Long Island City?
No, not in LIC. But one of the other yards nearby, so as soon as I get my people on it, I'll let you know.
Man, they should just, I don't know.
Just like devote one train?
Yeah, one train for...
You know what? If they did, I think that would be a really cool thing if they called out like the best artists and just said, this train is yours.
Yeah.
And then like 3 months later...
What do you mean the best artists? Who's to say? What are you trying to, grade? And what do you mean? All art is great. That's the problem. Who's to say? Greatest artist in whose opinion?
Well, you know what?
It's called the quagmire of art. Who's to say it's even art? You know what? Maybe this is art. Maybe the New York hardcore banana is art. Who's to say?
You've gone bananas.
Maybe my poker is art. Who's to say?
Poker.
Poker. I barely knew her.
I always look at it like good graffiti is art, bad graffiti is vandalism.
Yeah. But
no, I think that would be a pretty cool thing if they had like a local artist thing and said,
sure,
devote a train, go crazy, But I don't think
Is
they would
Billy
appreciate
Joel
that.
art? Is Billy Joel art Phil Collins?
Uh-oh. Don't set him off, Paulie. Don't set him off.
I'm gonna have a Billy Joel seizure.
Only the good die young.
Only the good die young. Only the good die young. She had a bad zappa and the banner man a syncopation. Ooh, I'm an advantage. Whoa, 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 whoa. Come on, veza, 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 veza. Vada, zavada, vaza, vada.
Bananas.
Fuck Billy Joel, man. All right, now that you got me all riled up.
You're all riled up to unleash on Tommy now.
Let me get back to my New York hardcore roots.
Don't forget your roots.
You know what I've been listening to? Yo, you know, I'm gonna drop it. You know what I've been listening to?
What's that?
I'm in Cactus. Anybody ever hear of the band Cactus? What do you know about Cactus?
You're
Hard.
digging.
Yeah, they're great. I went down that hole because I listened to the greatest album Led Zeppelin never made. It's the Beck Bogart A Piece album that they did, the one studio album. That album is the greatest album Led Zeppelin never made. It is a Led Zeppelin album, but Led Zeppelin didn't do it. Jeff Beck did with Carmine Appice and Tim Bogart.
Now, is it Appice or Appice?
I'm not sure.
Because Carmine used Appice and Vinny used Appice.
Yeah. And but before they got down with Jeff Beck, they were in Vanilla Fudge, and then Cactus. Yep. So anyway, that's what I've been listening to. Going down a deep.
I like that
Cactus hole.
You don't fear the classic rock from the old days.
Well, that shit, if anybody knows what I'm talking about, dude, they're unbelievable. Anybody out there love Led Zeppelin? A lot of us love Led Zeppelin. Check out the Beck Bogart A Piece album. They did one studio record together. It is the greatest record Led Zeppelin never made. And come talk to them. Anyway, so there you go.
On that note, there you go.
On that note, speaking of Billy Joel and Long Island.
Hey, look, we're escaping Long Island City now.
Go back to Long Island. All right, I'll talk to you later. I think we covered everything, right?
I think we did.
All right, I'll talk to you soon.
Later.
Yep. Listen, bro, you're a little bit late to the party here, Don from Cropsey. We just talked about the show for 10 minutes. Yeah, it was a great show. Maybe next time you can make it, bro. Maybe next time you could come in from Staten Island and actually come to the show. I know it's tough, bro. I know it's tough. I know it's tough when, when you're not playing to come to another show and support the other bands. I know it's very tough. You just stepped in that bear trap, bro. Okay, let's hear the excuse. All right, what's it going to be? My kid had a soccer game. My wife, my mother-in-law. I had to work. Here we go. What's it going to be, Don? Come on. Where are you? Don't hide. I had to wash my hairbrush. I had to wash my hair. Anyway, this is it. The one, the only, often imitated, never duplicated New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. We are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, the Texas Silver Rush, DTFM Vinyl Distro, Generation Records, 126 Hardcore Clothing, Ed, Mad Vintage. Mad Vintage buys, sells, and collects band shirts, primarily hardcore. The DIY operation was started and is operated by a hardcore kid who just loves collecting and eventually got into vintage clothing, specifically the realm of vintage band shirts. They are always looking to buy out collections to either keep, sell, or trade. New shirts added daily at www.madvintage.com and posted on Instagram. Dig deep into that closet of crap and reach out to them. Help me help you, www.madvintage.com. Hey, I want to remind everybody we're doing the 350th show reveal today. At the break, we're doing the 350th show reveal after the break. Also, Devin from DTFM Vinyl Distro, our incredible friend and supporter, will be on at the break as well. Show us a couple new records that have come into the shop. So here we go. Let's bring our guest on. We need to get on the roof in Hoboken with you. Yo, I think that building caught fire, bro. I don't know if you can get on there anymore. They had a fire on that roof. You know? Can't bring my daughter to a Fury of 5 show. Sure you can. Come on. You just put her on the side. There's plenty of young girls at the show that weren't in the fray, so to speak. That said, let's bring our guest on. Enough of this talk. Let's clear the deck. Here we go. Today's guest is a singer and author hailing from Brooklyn, New York. As a singer, he's known for his work with the bands Warzone, The Psychos, Trip 6, and Rejuvenate. Here today to celebrate the release of his new book, Punk Rock Revolution, an oral history of the New York hardcore and punk rock scenes as witnessed by a true fan, please welcome one of the mainstays of the early New York hardcore scene, coming at us from Ocala, Florida, Mr. Tommy Rat Derosa. Brother.
How we doing, everybody?
Good
Can
to
you hear
see
me?
you. Yes, we can see you, man.
You don't hear no idle chatter in the background, do you?
Nope.
Okay, good. Very good. All right.
How are you, buddy?
I'm good.
Here you go. Dogs Award Detroit Hardcore. Yo, Tommy. All right.
Yo.
All the Brooklyn people are showing up, you know? So here
Brooklyn
we go.
in the house.
When was the last time you were up in New York?
Believe it or not, I haven't been up to New York since I moved up here. That was as of July 3rd, 2021.
Oh, so you haven't been up here to visit or anything?
No, I haven't had a chance to do that.
You're not missing much.
I saw the writing on the wall a long time ago.
You saw the writing on the wall and you tapped out.
Yeah, if you put it that way.
So I read the book and took some notes, and let me say that for those watching, primarily we're going to be working off of Tommy's new book, Punk Rock Revolution, an oral history of the New York hardcore and punk rock scenes as witnessed by a true fan. I do want to mention right off the bat that you can reach out to Tommy about the book. His Instagram is @TommyRat. Right, Tommy? Explain how people, where the book's at and how it's coming out.
Okay, it's expected to be out by August 30th, maybe out sooner, just dealing with some post-Kickstarter stuff right now. And I mean, you want to find out when you'd be notified when the book will be out? Go to my Instagram. There's a link on there to sign up for an email list. I could even throw up a couple of free chapters for you if you sign up, just for the people who are watching the show.
Yes, Rick Healy says Tommy Rat is New York hardcore. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So let's jump into it. Going to be sort of like referencing. I took some notes in the book, but basically, how did you come up? Did you grow up in a musical household? How did music come into your life?
I was more, when I was younger, I was more into sports, but then, I didn't really excel in that area, let's say. But I got more interested in music being around my sister and my cousin. They were getting more like into the underground stuff. Like that was at CBGB's, like Ramones, Sex Pistols, all that stuff. I was getting into that stuff. and I took it a step further than they did.
Did you grew up in what part of Brooklyn?
Bensonhurst.
Bensonhurst. What was Bensonhurst like in the growing up in the 70s?
Also, basically, mostly white people around that time. Dealt with a lot of assholes back then.
Especially after Saturday Night Fever, right?
Yes.
Yep. L&B Spumoni Gardens, right? Absolutely.
Right.
Bensonhurst. I never heard that one.
Back then, when you were a punk rocker in the early 80s, the disco boys and the long hair people did not like punk rockers. They did not like punk rockers back then.
What was the first live, like, what was the first music? Better yet, what was the first live music that you saw? Like, doesn't have to be punk or hardcore, but like, what was the first live music that you saw?
Believe it or not, the first concert I ever went to was a Duke Ellington concert in Atlantic City in 1970s.
Wow. The Duke. You saw the Duke.
Yeah. That was like the first concert I ever went to.
And then after that?
Of course, it was with my parents and my sister. One of those family things that you were tagged along, but you had no choice but to be there.
And then how did then after that, what was the first music that really spoke to you, that you connected with?
Well, believe it or not, my sister, she was like getting into bands. Like first, she liked stuff like Cat Stevens, Springsteen, and I was getting into stuff like Zeppelin, The Who. Actually,
the classic rock shit.
Right. And the first album I ever bought was The Who's Next.
Oh, it's a great record.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Still stands the test. I'm getting a little tongue-tied here. Still stands the test of time.
Yeah, and we're the same age basically. So, and having grown up in New York City as well, the radio back then, we listened to, there was like these, they call it classic rock now, but it wasn't called, it was just like NEW and PLJ, and
right.
It was like, what you listen to, what you basically, you turn on one of those stations, and the next 5 songs you would hear would be The Who, Led Zeppelin, Bad Company, Peter Fran. It was Leonard Skinner.
That was another one. That was another one that's played in the household back in them days too, and I pretty much got into the Kiss stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. So how did things? What was sort of the watershed moment? What was the pivotal? Like, what got you into heavy and harder music, and how how did you sort of fall into the punk and hardcore thing?
Basically, some friends I had at the time in school that were listening to the heaviest stuff. I got to that. I got to that stuff, and then of course my sister and my cousin, they were listening to stuff like the punk rock stuff that was coming out of CBGBs and the Sex Pistols, the English stuff. My cousin John Paul, rest his soul, he actually saw the Dead Boys when they first played in New York City. He was telling us about them, like that they threw beer bottles at people from the stage into the audience, and they didn't have anything out, and they were coming all the way from Detroit to play in New York City. They didn't have nothing out when they first played.
And here I just dug out this is a great shot. This is the Dead Boys at CB's in 1977. Boom. Yeah. How about that?
Wow. Different look from what
we
knew at the end.
Dead Boy, I don't know, the way I kind of feel about the Dead Boys, like the Dead Boys were like really a punk rock band. They were punk rock. They Blondie and Talking Heads, they called that stuff punk rock, but the Dead Boys with Steve Bators, they were punk rock. at the time.
Today they would call that stuff radio safe.
Yeah, right. Yes, of course. They're from Cleveland. Yep. So what was the first stuff that like you kind of felt like that was your like this is my music. This is for me.
Like the Ramones. Ramones was like one of the bands that that had a strong, that I felt like, how should I say, had a strong connection with as far as music, liking their music. Ramones, you know, I was into like the stuff like the early Clash, like from the first two albums.
Hell yeah. Yep. And what else?
I mean, there was the Talking Heads, Psycho Killer, Dead Boys when they first got their first album out.
So was there a jump from this music that we're talking about here to I know it wasn't called hardcore at the time, but what was the jump and how did you, and what were the first bands that, like, how did you cross that bridge?
Okay, I had a friend. There was a friend in high school. There's a friend in high school named Mike Roman, and we used to talk about all the, like, he was talking about all these LA bands that were coming out, and Frisco bands like Black Flag, Dead Kennedys, The Germs. So I started looking into those bands. When Black Flag first came to New York City to play in 1981 at the Peppermint Lounge, me and this friend of mine named Joe went to go see them play, and this was like the first time we ever saw slam dancing. Because there was a lot of people from DC that came up there. A lot of people from DC, like,
this is when Dez was singing, correct?
Right. Mm-hmm. And the DC people, they, there was a lot of the type of people that were hanging out at Peppermint Lounge at the time were like the Flock of Seagull types, and they were giving the DC skinheads a lot of shit, and so they thought they represented what New York was about, and pretty much started a short-lived feud.
Yeah, the Peppermint Lounge was when I think about it, that particular, that's the kind of bands that played there, like, and I saw Bad Brains there, I know Black Flag played there. There's a couple other shows, but it was kind of like a, dare I say, new wave kind of place,
Right, exactly.
New wave.
Basically, those people kept the bar in business.
Yeah. And so that Black Flag show sort of like the aha moment?
Yeah, I would say so. That was like the first aha moment.
And then, where'd you go from there? What rabbit hole did you go down after seeing?
All right. When I saw the next time Black Flag played Irving Plaza in the summer of '81, UXA and the Bad Brains opened up for them
at Irving.
And this was like my first time I saw the Bad Brains. That shit fucking blew me away. First, expecting, like, I didn't never heard anything else other than Pay to Come at that time and Stay Close to Me, and I was expecting them to look like how they did on the record. They're already in roster mode right then at that time, and that shit fucking blew me away. I said, I'm getting right into the so right then they started looking more into the hardcore thing, and then that's when I wanted to be a singer after seeing HR do all the crazy shit they was doing that night.
Yeah. Courtney, Irving Plaza's been around a long time. It's been around in different incarnations. I think originally it was like a Ukrainian dance hall or something. So Irving Plaza wasn't built. Irving Plaza's been there, probably since the 40s or something. So there were shows there going back to the 70s. Yeah. So after I think originally it was a dance song. So once
originally it was promoted by Club 57 at that time.
they called it Club 57, didn't they?
Right, right.
Yeah, they called it Club 57. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think I have. Hold on, let me see. Black Flag, Irving Plaza. Here you go. Boom. Yada yada.
And you got a database at your fingertips.
That's what I do, man. I sit on airplanes and label all this stuff so we can do this. So there you go.
There you go.
So
there's right
there's
there, man. That's the ticket right there.
That's the ticket to the show you went to.
Right.
Yep. So it's Club 57 at Irving Plaza presents Black Flag. Ticket number 130. There you go. Pretty cool. Yeah. What happened after Black Flag? Did you start, hey, I love this stuff. I'm going to start seeking it out?
Yes. Yes. Basically, yes.
And what did that bring you?
Brought me more friends. Got to know a lot of people in the scene. After that, going.
Where'd you go? Tell us, like, what venues? Like, where did you seek this stuff out?
Max's, Peppermint Lounge. Used to be a place called the Playroom.
This shot of Reagan Youth, is this at Trudy Heller's? With you on the dance floor?
I'm trying to remember where that was from.
I think it's Trudy Heller's for some reason. It's not A7. It might be Trudy, but this is pretty early on in the game, right?
Yeah.
What when you first started, who were the New York? Now we're not going to say, hey, look who just showed up, Billy Psycho. What's up, Billy?
Yo, Billy.
What do you say, Billy? Good to see you, brother. I hope you're well, man. When you first started coming around to Max's, who were the bands? Who we didn't call it hardcore yet. It didn't really have a name.
No.
But what was it called? And who did you see?
It was more like punk rock. Punk rock bands like I was seeing at the time was Even Worse, The Undead, Heart Attack, Reagan Youth. I think later on, Kraut. Later on, you had bands like the Misguided and the BC Boys.
Did you see the Stimulators?
Yes, Stimulators. Yes.
Yeah, that's basically what you explained there. That was like the first, way, Young and the Useless.
Right.
Who we forgetting? I mean, and then sort of on the tail end of that came, yes, the mob,
right.
The Abused came in a little bit after that, and then the next wave of sort of more, shall we say, New York hardcore bands would be like Cause for Alarm,
right.
Antidote, The High and the Mighty, so on and so forth.
And I want to backtrack a little bit here.
Please.
Like around the same time that the Stimulators were playing, you also had the Mad.
Yeah. Yeah, the Mad. Yeah, yeah, George. Yeah, and these are bands that sort of these are like the missing link kind of bands. Like the Stimulators, the Mad. These are the bands that sort of, with a bridge to what came that came later, the Bad Brains.
Exactly. Everything is connected.
Yeah.
In some way or another.
You mentioned in the book, some of your early adventures. You mentioned Blood Clot, the band Blood Clot, and
yes.
it was really interesting. You mentioned Ted from Blood Clot, right? And Ted, I believe, went on to be a performer. He calls himself Papa Chubby. And he's like a blues guy now. I believe that's Ted Horowitz from Blood Clot. But that bit in the book you talk about seeing him on the train and all that was pretty funny. Begging on the train, and then he said, "Whoa!" and saw you and turned the other way.
I know that was weird. I didn't try to blow a spot though. Whatever he was doing at that time.
Another story. Is that right? Brian Wells says Tommy's always been one of my top 10 hardcore vocalists. Love Trip 6. Well, we're getting there. We're making our way to Trip 6. Yo, one. So how did you meet Ray B's and Jimmy and like and Vinny? Like where how did you come in contact with those guys?
Vinny, I actually met at a Bad Brains show at CBGB's in 1981, and I think at the time he was in the Stimulators, and he was telling me he lived 2 blocks away from CBGB's.
In the same building he lives now.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And Jimmy, I believe I met Jimmy at A7. At A7. You know, we've been, at Max's, and we've been, I mean, we met around the same time, at the same time, like I was more frequently going to these places. We was all seeing the same bands.
And I think that, that's when we met. That's when I met you. It was the same kind of thing. And I have to say that, going to shows back then, I didn't know a lot of people, when I first got back to New York in summer of '83. And as I was getting the High and the Mighty together, when I came back from Boston and going to A7 and to CB's, I must say that you were one of the people that I would see and I would talk to. And, you and me, there was a couple people, you were one of them. And I was thinking about it today. I remember having like really long conversations with you because you and I talked about the music. We loved the music. We knew the music. It was about the music. It wasn't about, this or that, or let's go huff some glue, or let's go beat up some people, or let's go beat up some people, or let's go, do this or do that, or you and I, we were just great music fans. And I remember you and I had some really long conversations, at A7 and outside CB's, and stuff like that. I always looked at you as a friend and as someone who just loved the music.
Right. Yeah. Same right here, Joe. Same right here. Same here.
I
want to bring up something too, like
please,
like that just came to mind, like recently, like that I may have mentioned to you. I used to work at a place called Robert Tabaco, which was like a watch distributor, and supposedly there was some guy that was like an executive there, claimed he was from Boston originally, like he knew all these people. Like Katie, the cleaning lady, even mentioned your name. And one time he went by the name of Holst. Yeah, I know. I asked you about that, and you said you didn't know the guy. And before I left that, he asked me. He said he claimed he knew you, and and then before I left that place, to go work for Parks Department, he said, "Did you ever come across True Stone?" And I asked him if he remembered me. He said he don't know you.
What was his name? What was his name?
Holst. He went by the name of Holt. His real name was Steve Holtzman.
What's happened with me in a lot of ways is like I like doing interviews and talking to people, connecting. It's like people have given me back my memories. You know what I mean? It's like when you don't see somebody for 30, 40 years, it's like, and then, I've had people that I've reconnected with go, remember the time we did this and that, and we went over, and then, oh yeah, okay, thank you for giving me back some of my memories, So John Coletti, what's happening, man? Anthrax represent. When I think of Tommy Rat, I think of Johnny Stiff. How did they meet? How did you remember Johnny Stiff from back then?
Yeah, I have to answer that. Okay. Actually, first time I saw Johnny Stiff, I was actually in Besnar's. He used to be a truck driver. And like, and then like he beeped his horn at me. Like, I forget what he said, what he screamed at me while I was driving by. But then I met him at A7 like months later.
Yeah, he was Johnny Stiff was around early days. He was everywhere. I want
absolutely.
to you
Okay,
mentioned
wait a second. Now, how I met Ray B's. I never
Yeah.
answered that.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, I actually met him at a UK sub show at the Peppermint Lounge, and like the story I heard was like he sneaked inside the club through a bathroom window to get into that show.
Mm.
And then the second time, I actually met at the time he had like these 3 mohawks on the head, and had all this like marker stuff on, like all this like I don't know, like art, like I say, like typical punk rock artwork, we'll just call it, on a leather jacket.
I'm looking for an early Ray B's picture. Keep going.
And when I actually met him officially, he was actually doing a band with a friend of mine in Brooklyn that never went anywhere. And he came out to Brooklyn at some studio that was like a block away from where my friend Joe lived. That's when I officially met him. I get formally introduced to him.
So how did let's just jump in. How did Warzone come together? How did Warzone start?
Okay, I was putting together a band, and Roger, who just joined AF, introduced me to some people. Introduced to Tito, who was like the original guitar player for Warzone, and Adamucci offered to play drums. He offered to play drums. And,
Adamucci played drums?
Yeah, at the time.
Wow. Okay.
All right, let me just finish, okay? All right.
Yeah.
And then this guy, Andre, that would, Roger introduced me to Andre that would play in the Press later on as a bass player.
Mm-hmm.
But he never, I don't know, something happened where he did not do it. Okay, something happened, and Roger ended up playing bass. He ended up playing bass. And so I mean, like, it wasn't really like a lot of trial and error at that time. We didn't have an official name. Didn't have an official name yet.
Is this the first time you guys played? Is this the infamous show?
That's when the first time with Ray and Roger playing bass. That's when the band officially became what it is before it was named Warzone. So
this is the show that we played together at A7. It was Blood, the High and the Mighty, the Psychos, Agnostic Front, and it says Verbal Assault, aka Rat Poison Band.
Yeah, we were still trying to figure out a name.
This is a great, and there's plenty of pictures of this too, and there's footage of this show.
Yeah, I know, it's floating around somewhere.
Yeah, there's footage.
I never seen the full footage. I never seen the full footage of that show to this day.
Yeah. This is, and then I've asked you this because it's one of those sort of fucking great flyers that has no date on it. It's like it doesn't say when the show is on the flyer. It says Thursday at A7. Okay. Now, so we figured out that on the bottom right it says the person who put it together 83. So it's, and then you said you seem to think it's December of 83. Is that correct?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That was great, man. Great. Yeah. And then
that's the very last A7 show ever for hardcore.
It was what?
Punk. The very last A7 show for hardcore punk.
I
believe it was before they closed.
Wow. I know the A7 was one of those things where it was closing for like a year before it really closed.
Exactly. Exactly.
It's like, Now, I know this is a little bit later, but this is the first Warzone show at CBGB, correct?
Right, under the name of Warzone.
So tell us, how did you arrive at the name Warzone? And when you finally said, "We are Warzone," who was in the band?
Okay, the name, I actually came up with the name from the SOA song. They had a song called Warzone, and I really was into SOA. And everybody, agreed with the name. Whatever Ray tells you in the other interviews, that's what he told people, whatever. And he knows it was bullshit too. He told me that.
Right. This is a pretty great lineup here. It's like, look at this lineup. It's it's from the top down. I guess it was sort of like Psychos, Armed Citizens, Ultraviolence, Warzone, Mental Decay, and Insanity Defense, who I'm not familiar with. Insanity Defense.
I don't think they played that show. I think they canceled, and Skinhead Youth ended up playing.
Right. And you mentioned Skinhead Youth, and that's sort of there's a sort of a segue there. Ray was playing drums in Warzone, but he wanted to start a band where he was singing, so that was going to be Skinhead Youth, correct?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely correct.
Right. And I rehearsed with Skinhead Youth for a couple of months on bass. I was going to play bass in Skinhead Youth, and we rehearsed and we rehearsed and we rehearsed. I do not remember why. I think he put it down at that point, maybe because he started singing in Warzone. Could be.
I don't know. I think that I'm not sure exactly of the timeline, because I did remember that he was talking about working with you at that time.
Yeah.
He was at time. I don't know if that was, I'm not sure if it was after that first show or that second show.
My life could have been very different. I could have been the bass player in Skinhead Youth.
Hey.
One person that we mentioned at the beginning of the show was Heap. And tell, who was Heap?
Todd Youth.
Yeah. That was his.
He hated that name. He hated it.
He hated it.
Because like some guys from New Jersey, I think this band NJF, according to him, they gave him that name. That's what he told me.
Because he was in a heap. He was like a mess. He was like, he was.
Yeah, his family life was all fucked up. Whatever went on at his family's house.
Yeah, absolutely. And Todd was in the initial lineup of Warzone.
Actually, Ray was trying to get Todd to play, but then he ended up playing with AF.
Right.
And then, then before it was named Warzone, and first Adam was going to play bass, and then he wasn't able to do it. Then Roger filled in until we found a bass player.
And isn't this a very early Warzone set list?
Yes.
And that's, didn't we open the show with that?
That might have been from the first. That may have been from the first Warzone show. It may have been.
And that song "Take a Stand" is what you sang at the Ray B's tribute show in the park, right?
Right.
That's pretty cool. Yep. Yeah. Bass Klomp says, "I remember Johnny Stiff with you there in New York City, Tommy. Good memories."
Hey, Boz.
All right, Boz.
Come visit me in Florida.
So this is an early Warzone. Can you give us any perspective on any of these songs? Remember these?
Yeah, I could. Yeah.
Like, did any of these sort of carry on, or were they recorded?
Some of them were recorded for what would have been the Warzone album before I left.
Mm-hmm.
like Take a Stand, Paranoid Kills, Trouble, Dedicated, and United Front.
Gotcha. And how did the Warzone thing play out for you? You know, why did it end? Why did you move on? And how did that shake out?
All right. There's like around 85. There was a lot. Everybody had issues going on in their personal lives at that time. And at that time, that's when I had I started my full-time job. And there was like a lot of, I think Warzone was more trying to become an oi band, and that wasn't really the direction I wanted to go in. And Ray got back into his doing the Angel Dust.
There was one thing that was, how do I say it? Let me just be frank. There was a lot of, when you would go to CB's matinees, and like you'd go out onto the sidewalk after, and you would just, that smell of Angel Dust. A lot of people were smoking dust and huffing glue.
Oh yeah.
And there was a lot of drugs around back then. A lot of
absolutely.
hard, dirty drugs, man. You know.
Well, let me tell you something. Like when this was going on, there was like one incident that happened. Like after we played a Warzone show that kind of pissed me off, and there was something that happened where a mistake was made in the song, and fingers were getting pointed at me, and then it says, Ray, that was not the way we practiced the song. And he says, oh, we changed the song around and didn't tell you. Now, what kind of shit is that? So that was like one of my reasons of wanting to move away from that.
So you tapped out after that.
Yeah, you can say that. Yeah.
Hey, I want to shout out Danielle LePage.
I
don't know if you're just tuning in, Danielle, but we did the A7 flyer. we just talked about that show that you guys played, that Blood played. Blood, of course, being really one of the early all-girl hardcore bands, and what in New York City. So when you left Warzone, what was there? What was it? Did you go right out and start another band? How did that shake out?
I was trying to do another project, and then I ended up joining the Psychos.
Yeah, tell us about how that came about. I'm looking for the flyer.
Stu was telling me he was looking for a singer, and I offered, I wanted to join. I thought they were pretty happening at that time.
Yeah, you sent me. I'm looking for that. The Psychos flyer. There's one that you playing with. Who the fuck is it? Yeah. Tommy Rat singing for the Psychos. Here it is. Is this? Did this last for more than this show? This is kind of an iconic show.
That was the show. That was the show.
And I love it says the return of It's Been a While. First time at CBGB's in 5 months. The Psychos are back. Who made this flyer? Do you remember? It's classic.
I don't remember who made that flyer, but basically, I think Stu and Billy dealt with that stuff.
And this is great. New York City Mayhem, which is Gordon Ansis, Craig Satari, and Tommy Carroll. It's like their first band, right? Token Entry to Numbskulls. This is a great flyer, man.
Numbskull, yeah, before they became Underdog.
Right.
And I think Maggie was playing bass with them.
Yeah. Yeah. So how long did your tenure in the Psychos last, and how'd that shake out?
Not very long. I'll be honest with you. Not very long, because there was another show that we played at Long Island that didn't work out too well. And then after that, I don't know. Stu pretty much didn't want to do it no more.
It seems like you kind of have a long history with Stu. And here's a shot of you. I guess this is an early shot of you singing in Warzone, right?
No, that was from the Rabies tribute at Webster Hall.
Ooh, okay.
B&B Fest.
Got it. Sorry. Stu Psycho, who I remember, was a character.
Yes, he was.
He's a guy that hit it hard. He was in and out of jail a lot. Big, talk about angel dust,
So he moved on to crack.
Yeah, he was
He moved on to coke and crack after that.
But you were involved with him in a couple of bands. That must have been an exercise in futility.
Right, absolutely right. Mm-hmm.
But he was great. I saw some great him playing. He was great when he was on. He was on.
It's just that substance abuse shit just fucked him up.
Yeah. Yep. So after that is a Trip 6.
Yeah, Trip 6.
Tell us about that.
Okay. We still wanted to do a band, but like he couldn't use. He wanted to still use his songs, but of course, he couldn't use the name. He couldn't use the Psycho's name because that was something between him and Billy.
You ever see these pictures?
Tell you the truth, that's like the first time I'm seeing that one right there.
Yeah, I found these in my archive. They were at Trip 6. I don't know where they're from, but there's you and there's Stu on the right, and I also have this one, which is. This actually looks like. This might be a record. This could be. This almost looks like a recording studio.
Maybe it was. You know what?
Yeah.
That might have been recording. This place called the Music Box.
Right.
That was over on 7th Street and Avenue B where we recorded our demo. That might have been.
Yeah, I remember that place. That's not Tu-Casa, right? No, that's a different place.
No. We actually, Rejuvenate did practice at Tu-Casa once, and then then we tried to get another rehearsal there, and they were like, "Oh, what type of music you play? Oh, we don't allow hardcore punk bands practice here."
They had enough. They had enough. It was gnarly down there. Who's this playing bass in Trip 6?
Zippy.
Zippy's kind of winning with them sideburns, man. Yeah, I got a feeling this is a recording studio based on all the amps and everything.
Right. I don't remember who took pictures over there, but.
Hey, what's up, Bat? Bat says, "What's Rat? Good to see you, brother."
What's up, Bat?
Good to see you, Bat. Hope you're well, buddy. Just poking around. Let me see if I have any. So walk us through the Trip 6 stuff a little bit.
All right, that's okay. So we put out a demo tape, and then our first show was at CBGB's. We opened up for Underdog, and also the New York Hoods also played that show too. I think that was like Gavin's last show with them, I believe, because he was out of that band after that show. Yeah, there were a lot of things that didn't go right. I think one time Stu showed up he got high before a show.
Is this the show you're talking about? Boom.
Yeah, that was a show. That was the show I'm talking about. Yeah.
And that was, there you go. Great flyer.
Yeah. And I'll call it down the middle. Things went right. If things went right, things didn't go. Things went wrong. I'm calling down the middle as I see it. Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
And then Trip 6 comes to an end, and then you start Rejuvenate?
Let me go a little bit further into Trip 6.
Yeah.
Trip 6. Like about a year later, about 1 year later, we got on that we did get on that Revelation comp, but it wasn't out yet. And we had we were supposed to have a show at Tin Pan Alley. I think that was in sometime in '88. I forget the date. And there was a lot of things that happened because at that time, Zippy left to join the Mentors, and we were trying to work in a new bass player, and then Stu decided to go on a binge. He decided to go on the binge and not do the show. So that was the end of Trip 6. That was the end of Trip 6 right then and there.
You had enough.
That was the end of that. That was the end of that right then and there.
Listen, it's hard. It's hard to have bandmates that have major league drug problems.
Oh, absolutely. Now, after that, tried another band after that didn't work out for a year, and then getting on to,
hey, Paul Kostabi, what's up, brother? Hey, are you talking? Is that the band that you tried to put together with Davy Jones?
Actually, that was before. That was between Warzone and the Psychos.
What was the name of that band?
We were going to call it Just Us.
Just Us?
Yeah.
You mentioned in the book it had Davy Jones from Drums on Mental Abuse, but unfortunately Dave had no interest in touring. Still, he did start a label called Urinal Records, which released
he had no interest. Yeah, when he was at AF, he had no interest in touring.
Right. And which released an album by Mental Abuse and a compilation album with AF doing Bomber Z with Petey Hines on drums. I've never heard that. What comp was that? What was the name of that comp? Do you know?
You know what? That name is escaping me right now.
That's deep, bro. That's deep. Like, what was the name of the comp that Davy Jones put out on Urinal Records that had an agnostic front song on it, Bomber Z, which would later turn up on the Cause for Alarm record with Louis Beto from Carnivore playing drums. But apparently, according to your book, they did a version of Bomber Z with Petey Hines from later Cro-Mags on drums. Like, is that right? Oh, here we go. A Message from America?
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
Nice.
You got it.
Thank you.
Whoa, I was just about to fall off my chair here.
Whoa, relax. we got another hour. You know?
I'm good.
Thank you, John Coletti and Pat Baldwin. Seizure is on it with AF. I got to track this down. I want to hear this. I really want to hear Bomber Z with Petey Hines, man. Even Rick Healy knows A Message to America or Message from America. And while we're on the subject of Angel Dust, Bomber Z was the name of the dust that everybody used to smoke back then.
That's right.
That's what, for those who want to go deep, the song Bomber Z is about. That was the brand name that they stamped on the glassine envelope. Bomber Z. Yep. There you go. Kind of crazy. And Crazy Eddie, that was another one. And Sherm. Ugh. Yeah, there you go. Great song. Never knew that. Yeah. Yep. So, I still sort of retch when I think of that smell of dust. It's like, that shit was nasty, man.
Oh, I know.
Ugh. Chemicals, nasty, man. Ugh. Yep. Couldn't get down with dust. Couldn't get down with huff and glue, man. Sorry. I was a square. I got into other things. That smell. Ooh, that smell. Hey, Tommy, let me take a sponsor break, and we'll come back and we'll get into Rejuvenate, and we'll get into the Big Charlie tribute show. We'll get into a bunch of other stuff. All right, give me a couple of minutes.
All right.
We're gonna have Devin come on from DTFM. You'll come on as well. We'll do a show and tell. All right.
Okay. All right. Sounds cool.
See you in a few. That's right. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. We're going to do some sponsor stuff. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about some upcoming shows, including the 350th show reveal.
Since 1992, Generation Records has been a mainstay of the New York metropolitan area music scene. Today, they offer a diverse selection of new and used rock, jazz, indie, hip-hop, punk, hardcore, metal, blues, soundtrack, and reggae LPs, as well as t-shirts, posters, and other merchandise. They buy used record collections and music memorabilia and will pay you top dollar for them. House calls made for large collections in the tri-state area. Call or email generationrecords@gmail.com and follow them on Facebook and Instagram.
Will that be cash or in debt?
Do you mean debit?
Yes. Sorry. Another eternally satisfied customer.
Peace, what it do? Welcome to NYHC Comics at 117 Main Street, Dobbs, Surrey, New York. I'm Debo the Pro with my homie
Lee Farley.
Welcome to the spot. Specializing in yesterday's and today's comic books, rare CGCs, toys, collectibles.
Got skateboards, old school tapes, Magic the Gathering, Warhammer.
Video games, original art pieces by your favorite New York City and worldwide artists. Let's go. Skate decks all day, baby.
We also have the young reader section here for like 10 and under. Pops. People love the Pops.
Star Wars! We are New York Hardcore. We always rep the scene. Let's get it on.
And we're back. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. I want to talk about a couple of upcoming shows and also mention that the show needs support now more than ever. Now so more than ever. This show needs support. If you watch the show, and I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody that watches the show and being a part of what we do. But the show could use some support. There's a Patreon page. There's a $2 tier, a $5 tier, some unique programming that only goes on to Patreon and some perks. Other than that, there's a PayPal address. But please, in any way, shape, or form, support the show. There's a super chat function. If you want to put a couple bucks into it, ask a question, whatever, just support the fucking show so we can keep doing what we're doing. That said, let's talk about some upcoming shows. Here we go. This Sunday, Brian Gorsinger will be on the show. He has a book out called Ancient Artifacts. This is an incredible American hardcore historian. So this is going to be a great show and tell show coming up this Sunday. A week from then, Chris Enriquez will be on the show. He had to reschedule because he had to go back out on tour. But looking forward to having Chris on. He just recently joined Orange 9mm, played some big shows with Spotlights and Julie Christmas. Looking forward to it. Sunday, September 8th, celebrating the book release of Vinny Stigma, the Most Interesting Man in the World. Vinny and Howie Abrams will be on the show. Wednesday, September 18th, just announced this the other day. Very, very excited about this show. So Wednesday, September 18th, Donna Destry will be on the show. Donna Destry, if you don't know, besides the fact that she's Jimmy Destry from Blondie's sister, Donna Destry is an OG punk rock gal. She was around from Max's Kansas City and CBGB's. Donna Destry was there at Ground Zero when it went down. She is an awesome person. This is going to be a really fun show. We're going to be going deep into the Maxes and CB early days. Blondie, Talking Heads, Ramones, Johnny Thunders. This is going to be very cool. Sunday, September 22nd, so some local flavor. Andrew Vacante of Combust, Staten Island represent, will be on the show. Of course, Sunday, September 29th. We're all very excited. We hope for the best here. You know, he's a busy guy. He's rescheduled a couple of times. Joey Chithead from DOA. Danny Lilker is on October 6th, Sunday, celebrating the release of Perpetual Conversation, 2nd edition. And here's a couple of shows that we have yet to announce. Oh no, we did announce this one. Lou Morales has a book called Brooklyn Skinhead. He's coming on Wednesday, October 9th. This has yet to be announced. Talking about early New York hardcore releases. Cause for Alarm, Alex Kynan, who was in Cause for Alarm and also played on the Agnostic Front Cause for Alarm record. Speaking of Bomber Z, we finally got Alex to come on the show. And then, of course, the 350th show. Listen, what can I say? You know, there's an ebb and a flow to this stuff. Sure, there's a couple of real headlight people we want on the show, but also what comes into play is, you know, who watches the show, who's a fan of the show, and who would like to be on the show as well. You know, it gets, you know, I'm a little tired of chasing around Henry Rollins, you know, Keith Morris, you know, kind of the same kind of, you know, kind of tired of chasing them around. When somebody shows up, you know, with enthusiasm and would like to do it. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, kind of out of left field, this is a name that has come up a lot with bringing him on the guest of the show. Episode number 350 is going to be Thurston Moore from Sonic Youth. So there you go. Sunday, December 1st, 350th episode of the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live will be friend and supporter Thurston Moore from Sonic Youth. He has a book out called Sonic Life, a Memoir. So here you go. That's going down. It's going to be Thurston Moore. So, yeah, there you go. Yep. Yeah, I need to do honestly, it's overdue. I need to do an Urban Street Bike Warrior reunion show with some of my people. Yeah. Is it a great book, Pat? I haven't I got to get it. I got to read it. Yeah. So, yep. Sonic Youth. We're going to go deep. We're going to go deep. We're going to get weird. So, that said, let's clear the deck. And keep in mind on this Wednesday is Brian Gorson. This Sunday. That said, let's bring back. Excuse me. How could I have forgotten? How are you, buddy?
I am doing great, Drew. How about you?
Here's our friend, an incredible supporter, Devin from DTFM Vinyl Distro. How are you?
I am awesome.
Let's bring Tommy on as well. Hey, Tommy.
Oh, hey, Devin.
Tommy.
Hey, so Devin, let's do a little show and tell here for a couple minutes. What do you got? Let's get down.
First off, I've got some LA. Well, it says doom metal on it, but I kind of hear it more as death metal. This is Severus Maze Envy. This is a brand new album. It comes on some really cool colored vinyl, and it's so heavy my arms should be snapping off right now. This sound is just destructive.
And this is LA death metal?
LA death metal.
Right on.
When I heard it at first, I thought it was European.
Okay. Right on.
So it's got a very different sound to it. But
okay.
Next up, Chronicles, let's go with something from New York. Gravesend with Methods of Human Disposal. This is crusty. This is grimy and so heavy. I played this for a guy who was a big Converge fan the other day, and he was just like backing off, like, this is too heavy for me.
And this is Gravesend.
Gravesend.
Does that any of you New York people know of this band, Gravesend? Let's see. I'm not familiar with them.
They're kind of new and underground, but I know I heard about them from they were mentioned by the guys from All Out War. That's where I heard about them.
All right, right on.
I wonder if they're named after a section in Brooklyn called Gravesend. That's
Yeah.
right near Bensonhurst.
I would
That's
think they would. I would think if they're from New York, that's where they got it. You know.
That would make sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I showed you this one before, and I got to talk about these guys because they're local heroes, and they got a lot of stuff going on. Talking about my boys Maul here.
Could be the greatest. Could be one of the greatest band names ever for a heavy band. Maul. I love it. Hard.
These guys are always on the road. They're planning a festival in Fargo, and Freya's playing, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
Freya's playing. I'm excited for that.
You know what? If your name is Maul, you kind of it makes sense that you're representing Fargo, North Dakota. That's hard. Hard.
They actually have a cool Metallica mock shirt that says "Get 'em, Maul." Gotta kill 'em, Maul. I want to get one, but I don't know if they still exist.
Yeah.
But yeah. You're not going to get soft rock, as you put it.
Right.
Maul. You're going to get mauled.
Wow.
Another one here. Classic. Probably my favorite Detroit album.
Yeah.
Doesn't get much darker than this.
Yeah. That's heavy. Heavy record.
It's heavy.
Yeah.
And I think it was recorded in like 4 days.
Wow.
And this is the remaster, and it just sounds excellent.
Cool.
I still can't believe I have it on my racks, to be honest with you.
Right on. Are you moving to a new location?
I am. I am moving downtown Fargo, close to my friend's Orange Records and close to a pizza place called Rhombus Guys.
And what's the move? Why are you? Is it a move? What's instigating the move? Do you want to move down there? Is it a happening spot? Did you lose the lease and you just
happening spot? Cheaper rent, just better foot traffic, of course, which goes into happening spot.
Yeah.
And I like the way the building is laid out. I actually have more room there than I would on my sidewalk.
Cool.
Yeah.
What about location?
Fargo. I want to visit Fargo, man.
You visit, I will show you around.
You know that my two places. Okay, wait. Brian just said our great friend and big part of the production team down at the Bowery Electric. Brian Matt said, I just looked up Gravesend and they have an album, Go On His Death Stomp. The Gowanus Canal. The Gowanus.
That made my day.
Yeah, just so you know, the Gowanus Canal is this sort of environmental disaster of a canal that runs a little bit through Brooklyn that is probably the most toxic and polluted stretch of water on the planet Earth, because before any regulations it was all like everyone just dumped everything into this canal. So the Gowanus Canal is like literally something out of like the movie Chud or something.
I love that movie.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, that makes sense. Anything else, Devin?
One more, and this one is really good. Very slimy, evil death metal. Witch Vomit. These guys are actually friends with Maul, and man, when I heard this, I didn't know how to describe it other than slimy and grimy and yeah, it's witch vomit. That's exactly you get exactly what you're labeled here.
It's a good name.
It is. It's a great name.
Like, what should we call ourselves? Well, Maul was already taken. Grave. How about Witch Vomit? There's another one. We were laughing. There's another one called Goat Penis, which is kind of great too. Yeah, we're Goat Penis. Hard. If you're going to see a band called Goat Penis, kind of pretty serious. It's not, or Maul. If you're going to see Maul, it's not acoustic folk rock. That's for sure. That said, Well, hey, Devin, thank you so much. I'm honored to have you as a sponsor for the show. You're really part of what makes this whole thing happen, and I can't thank you enough. Anybody you want to shout out? Anybody you want to thank?
Just my friends, my family, everyone who comes to the store, the guys at the local Fargo scene, especially my buddy Garrett and Maul, because he has been working extra hard to put so much together. Shrednet Heralds, September 15th. Be there. If you are in Fargo, you be there.
Right on. I'll talk to you soon, buddy. Thank you.
Later, my man.
Man, we love that guy. I'm fortunate. I got some great sponsors. By the way, actually, while we're here, sadly, since Organic Grill has folded for now, there's room on the boat for another sponsor for the show. If anyone out there watching would like to sponsor a month or two, if they have a business, if they have something that might be appropriate for the show, please reach out. We'd love to have you aboard as a sponsor. That said, Tommy, let's move on our journey.
All
Let's
right.
do a little kind of like this is stuff. Frederick Drake says, I met Tommy in the early 90s. I met a lot of people. He is the most genuine person in hardcore I've met.
Hey, Fred.
I met at an AF show, same time. Absolutely. That's what we talked about before, Frederick. I met Tommy in the early 80s, and he was one of those guys that, you know, was there for the music like myself, and we could really talk about. Let's do a little show and tell stuff, and we'll just kind of talk about some of the stuff that's from the book. This is actually, is this the cover? This is the cover of another book that you're on, correct?
Yeah.
And this is Karen O'Sullivan's book, and of course I recognize this. This is at the band shell in Central Park. Now I'm assuming this was the Rock Against Racism show.
I believe so.
Yeah. Yeah. You know any of these people?
I'm trying to look like I'm trying to figure out who I remember over there. I think
Is that
the guy
Stu?
sitting down
Is that Stu? Is that Stu from Mental Abuse up top with the mohawk?
I don't think so. It could be guys from the band Sacrilege,
Right.
but I could be wrong about that.
Right.
I think the kid that's sitting down on the right behind me, I think that's Larry from TDV.
Mm.
Now the girl that's over there, with the glasses on, and that looks like Sasha. I'm not
her,
sure.
yeah.
Sasha,
Wonder where those photos are, Sasha. Wonder where those pictures are. You know. That said, how about I'm just grabbing a couple things and kind of instigating. Let's talk about this. Is an interesting. I want to talk about this, and you know what? Let me set the table. Let me set the table with who was this person and what did he mean to the scene?
Big Charlie.
Yeah, who was Big Charlie? Tell us about it, and I'll set up the next thing.
Big Charlie, I think like on the side he said he played semi-pro football, and he would work security at a lot of the bars and shows on the Lower East Side.
And then we have this. This is the Big Charlie. Sadly, Charlie, yes, Big Charlie did the doors everywhere. Tell us about what this was and how, because it says here, Agnostic Front with Tommy Rat singing. How did this come to be?
Okay. It's good. That kind of dropped onto my lap unexpectedly. Because Johnny Stiff was putting that together, and he asked me if I could get Rejuvenate together because Rejuvenate was broken up at the time. I said, I thought it was out of the question because how am I going to get this band together? to every time something happens. It was just not possible at the time to do it. So one day I walk into wetlands, and Johnny Stiff says, "Hey, say hello to your new bass player." I'm like looking at Rob Kabula. He's pointing at Rob Kabula. I said, "Oh, what's going on?" And he tells me, "You're singing with us at the Big Charlie Memorial on such and on that day. Give Stigma a call to find out when practice is." So that's how I got on there. Did a few practices, and pretty much we played a lot of the older material, and that was it.
Yeah, this was a hell of a show.
I know. That was that was.
Yeah. Nicest guy ever. Yeah, fit of anger. Yeah. This. Yep. There you go. Let me see what else. And Wetlands. Wetlands was an interesting place.
Yes,
Wetlands had a lot of hardcore shows for a while.
Oh yes.
Is there? And we're bouncing around here. Let's talk about Rejuvenate a little bit, and how did the EP come first, or did Moment of Truth come first?
The EP came first.
Okay, so how did Rejuvenate come together? Who was in it? And just kind of walk us through the timeline of that band.
All right, around the between Trip 6 and Rejuvenate was trying to do something else, but that didn't work out. And so around the time Rejuvenate was starting, Stu was coming out of jail. And so at first I was reluctant to deal with him, but he was being monitored by his parole board as far as like doing drugs and stuff like that. And one time, me, him, and Roger met up. We talked about some stuff, and then Roger was telling me, "Yeah, you and Stu should try to get something together again."
Mm.
So we went with that, and pretty much Stu wanted to do psycho songs. I thought, Stu, let's do something new. What worked back then, then doesn't necessarily work today. Let's write some new material. So maybe we kept a couple of the psycho songs, but so yeah, and we kept a couple of the psycho songs. So, to use as covers, but we want to write some new material. I pretty much wrote material to get the band ready. Wrote a few songs.
Did Stu play on that EP and on this release?
No.
Right, I didn't think
we did have a demo. We did have a demo tape, floating demo tape where he did play. And if he kept this shit together, I think the band could have gone into a different direction from what it went. Because he had a unique sound. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he did. I remember he as a guitar player, like I said, once he got going, he was kind of great. He had some moments,
No, because okay, so basically it was Stu. There was this kid from New Jersey named Ricky that I was jamming with from a previous project.
Mm-hmm.
And then ran into Jerry Smiley. Went to Jerry Smiley on the street, and then told him I was doing a band, and all. I said, "Hey, listen, I play drums. Try me out."
Wow, I didn't know Jerry Smiley was in Rejuvenate. I didn't know that.
He was Russ's Soul.
Yeah, he was a sweet man. He was a good guy.
I know.
Tortured soul, kind
yeah,
soul.
He had some demons.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I miss him. He was a nice person. So Rejuvenate had like a bit of a run. You guys were around for a couple years, and what was going on? And you played this thing. What was this about?
That was a Rabies tribute show. We broke up at the time that this happened, and we just pretty much got together for one show.
Was this? I know Ray passed away on September 11th. Is this literally 1 month later?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. Sick of it all. Bouncing Souls, Rejuvenate, Shutdown, Down Low, and Old School Principle. I'm not familiar with this band, Old School Principle.
That's Uncle Al. That was Uncle Al's band.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think he had a band called the Unholy Alliance after he left Murphy's Law. And I don't know if that was the same band or or if that was the same band or a different band entirely.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many shows they played or if that was a one-off gig.
Sure.
I don't know. To be honest with you.
Sort of, we played a clip of the from the Tompkins show, and through the years, I know that you through the years, whenever there's kind of like a Warzone or Rabies tribute, you get the call, being you were such an integral part of the early Warzone days. I mean, looking back all these years later, is there anything you can glean on us, any perspective as far as, Ray goes, kind of as a person, or kind of, looking back now that, I mean, it's certainly interesting, the way things shake out, right? I mean, you and I were the same age, and, a lot of our friends passed away pretty young, and, through the passage of time, so, and anything you could, anything on Rabies?
Well, I'll tell you, Ray was somebody, if you worked with him, he knew how to bring out the best or the worst in you. I'll tell you that. I mean, he had his faults and everything, but, he was still our friend. He was still our friend, despite whatever issues that he had going on.
Gotcha.
I'm trying to think of something else here. Okay. And I think once Ray moved from drummer to frontman, I think he got to see from my end how things was working.
Yeah, he made that transition. He didn't want to be a drummer anymore. He wanted to be out front, which is a lot of drummers are like
that was more natural for him.
A lot of drummers are like that. You mentioned in the book, you mentioned Arthur Googie, right? Who was in Antidote with me when I joined. He was in the Misfits. Another drummer who ended up, fronting a band. And you mentioned a scrap between him and Ray. Was that at A7?
Yes.
Yeah. Googie.
Yeah, from what I heard, that was like some kind of misunderstanding.
Googie was a fiery dude.
I know.
Googie liked to swing, man. He liked to knuckle up. Irish guy, Hey, Lauren in Philly, good to see you. Hope you're well, man. Hope you're feeling all right down there. Was there, thinking about those early days, were there any like unsung heroes in your book? Like, is anybody that, like, looking back, that played a big part of it and maybe deserves some recognition and accolades and never got? Anybody you could think of? And any unsung heroes of the early New York hardcore days?
Let me think about that one.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm sure there was a lot of people who came and went. There were people who may have gotten discouraged with what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm trying to think of who was around back then. I remember
John Angeli says hi, by the way.
Hey, John.
Yep. Go on. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it may have been some people who that were involved, and then they just decided not to even be involved with the scene.
Well, people came and went, you know.
Yeah, a lot of people came and went.
Yeah.
I mean, one guy. There's one guy back then, like Mojo. I remember.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I actually knew him from high school.
Mm-hmm.
He used to, come to school wearing a 3-piece suit. And then one day I saw him at Max's Kansas City, all punked out.
Now, this is the Mojo that the Beastie Boys sort of made infamous with their song "Egg Raid on Mojo," right?
Correct.
Yeah, he was the. Did he did the door? Didn't he do the door at A7 for a while?
No, that was
Max's.
That was Leroy.
Right. Okay.
I don't know if he worked any door at any clubs, to my knowledge. Right. I don't know.
Egg Raid on Mojo.
But after a while, he disappeared. He pretty much moved away from what was going on in the hardcore punk movement.
Sure. So let me just say that the book is Punk Rock Revolution, an oral history of the New York hardcore and punk rock scenes as witnessed by a true fan. If you are interested in this epic piece of literature, please reach out to Tommy Rat at his Instagram, IG @TommyRat, and he will direct you from there. The book is in the process of happening. It should be out within the next couple of months. And Tommy, you have in the book, you've always had a great memory for details. So in a lot of ways in the book, a lot of things, you remember details on a lot of great things. Is this, you sent this one to me. We're kind of just dancing around here. And is this, you were singing for Warzone? This is at Belf. Okay. So
yeah, yes.
So this is another show that I guess it was a 2-day thing, right? I played the first.
Never happened.
It never happened.
The second night never happened.
And I think did the first night get shut down?
I think there was something happened the night before or the week before. Some people were fighting outside the club.
Because I seem to remember we played the night before and there was fighting and it got shut down, I think.
That's about right.
So this never happened, huh?
No. That was a Johnny Stiff. That was Johnny Stiff's club.
This is why you have this incredible memory, Tom, because I look at a fly like this and I go, I sort of don't remember this. Did this really happen? Right? So thank you.
Welcome.
Great builds on both.
I know.
Incredible lineup for both nights.
And Violent Children with Ray Capo in that band.
Was Belfast on Avenue A or on 6th Street? I think it was 6th Street, right?
It was close. It was where Benny Burritos used to be. Before it was Benny Burritos.
Got it. Another thing that you mentioned and comes up, and I know this is a band that you loved, and I love them too, is Minor Threat. And, you always were there at the Minor Threat shows, and this one was bananas, right?
Oh, you ain't shitting bricks there.
Tell us about this one.
Well, you had the show was already packed. The show was already packed as soon as the doors opened. It was already packed. You had Urban Waste and the Mob setting things off. Now, Minor Threat was not at the club yet. They have not arrived yet. They arrived as soon as after the Mob played. They were already loading in all their shit from the stage. Everybody had to get out of the way for them to bring all their stuff on the stage.
And I heard I was not at this show. And this is one of those when people like when I do the 10 questions, but when people ask me, show you wish you were at, if there's one, well, there's, for me, it's this show. I wish I could have seen this show. I saw Minor Threat play many times, but not here. I wish I could have seen Minor Threat at CBGB's, and I wish I could have seen the Clash at Bonds. But yeah, there you go.
I know a lot of these kids don't know what they're missing now, like with not seeing Minor Threat play and not even seeing the early Bad Brains play.
Well, kids today have their own bands. They
of
have
course.
their own minor. They have their own bands, and
No, of course, yeah, you're right about that. True.
Yeah,
true.
This is great. This has been colorized. I think this is a black and white shot that was colorized. This is Minor Threat at Irving Plaza.
Yeah, I saw him play there twice at Irving Plaza. They played 2 shows there.
Yeah, I was at those 2. And then there's this one here. This is a great shot. I'm not sure where this came from, but man, I'd like to see more of these. This is a rare shot of anything inside Gildersleeves. This is Minor Threat at Gildersleeves, and you could see in this shot, you see right in front of Ian with the shaved head. That's Alex Kynan. Right? That's Alex Kynan, who we just announced will be on the show.
Right.
And we finally got Alex. And also, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to lose that. And who else? You see Watson. You see John Watson with his arm up on the right. I see John Watson.
Yeah, John Watson, yeah.
Yeah. John Watson was always in the mix, man.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. And then, that was at Gildersleeves. And then just another piece of ephemera that I have in the archive is the actual Minor Threat set list from that show at Gildersleeves. Ripping. What a set this is,
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, they were great. They were great. Love that band. So, let me see what else I got. I got to take another break, and we'll come back and we'll take some questions from. This is an interesting one. This is a Danceteria show. Were you in Warzone for this Eastern Front was a squat, right?
Yes, that was a squat where we were living at the time.
Oh, you lived in it. You lived in this squat?
Yeah.
Was that the squat? Was that the 9th Street where Roger and Ray lived?
Yes.
Yeah, I was there. I remember that place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then after this benefit, I think a week after this benefit, the squat caught fire.
I remember that. That squat was kind of gnarly, man. It was like there were some dangerous areas in that squat.
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
Right? They were like you could go through the floor and shit. I remember being in there with Ray and Roger, and it was like, oh man, be careful. Watch this, watch that. And this is another flyer, not the greatest quality, but this is a great, Yeah, is the Francis Flanagan DJ? Is that Harley?
Yes, that was Harley.
Okay, that makes sense. What's going on with his book? What's going on with your book? Tell everybody what's happening with the book. What's the plan?
Tell you the truth, the book is expected to be out by August 30th, actually, or live on it should go live on Amazon.
August 30th. That's 9 days from now.
Yeah. So right now, just take care of some of the post Kickstarter stuff, which was a successful campaign, and I thank everybody that helped out with that.
Yeah. And let me ask you before we take a break, why now? Why now with the book? What was the impetus, after all these years to write the book? What inspired you?
Okay, actually, I was thinking about doing this book as far back as 1986, believe it or not.
Wow.
As far back. I mean, the plan to implement it was not there at the time because I was seeing other books around, but basically it was more involved like with photographs of like pictures from shows that people went to, and not anything as far as the detail going way back way back during my lifetime.
Makes sense. And I think it's become a little bit easier to put a book together these days, right?
Right. And yeah, and one of the motivations was because I want to I decided, like, I was trying to get it together back in like 2007, but then other things was getting in the way. Then I got sick around 2019, and I says, you know what? Let me just get this thing out now.
Yeah,
But,
absolutely. Gajewski says, if there's a person to tell the story of New York City punk hardcore scene, it's definitely Tommy. Cool. Absolutely. On that note, Tommy, let me take a quick sponsor break, a quick shout out. I got to announce a couple things, and we'll come back and we'll take some questions from around the world. Okay.
Okay. All right. Got it.
There you have it. This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. We are sponsored by blah, 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 and 126 Hardcore Clothing. They're a streetwear brand for restless individuals who don't compromise. They're about being positive, spontaneous, and true to yourself for years. They experimented with several printing methods and materials and collaborated with a large number of designers and illustrators, always giving room for fresh perspectives while retaining the hardcore attitude. Get in touch with them and ramp up your game at www.126clothing.com. Come on now, Joe Ramini. I saw you pop in there before, representing Fredericksburg, Texas. The Texas Silver Rush is a jewelry design firm and boutique store located in the birthplace of the Texas country music scene in Fredericksburg, Texas. They specialize in working with musicians in all music genres to design and create unique one-off pieces, as well as the style and for stage, album covers, promo photos, and social media exposure. Their client list includes Rock and Roll Hall of Famers Greg Rollet, Ringo Starr, and of course, your friend of mine, Vinny Stigma, Agnostic Front. Information and online sales are being taken at their Facebook and Instagram pages, and of course, www.thetexassilverrush.com. That said, I want to mention some upcoming events that are going down, starting with Friday, September 6th. I will be down in Philly at Creep Records moderating the Ray Cappo From Punk to Monk book event. Come on down if you're in the Philly area. That is Friday, September 6th from 5:30 to 7. Creep Records, fantastic place. Looking forward to this. Hope to see you down there. Thursday, September 12th, I will be moderating a book event here in New York City at Rough Trade in Rockefeller Plaza with our guest from almost 2 weeks ago, Daniel Rachel, who wrote Too Much Too Young, the Two-Tone Record Story. I'm excited about doing this with him live. He was a guest a little while back. Fantastic guest. This is a great book. I highly recommend it. Sunday, September 15th at the Barry Electric, free all ages Sunday matinee. Get your shoes and socks on, kids. It's right around the corner. Scream, Rebelmatic, Butterbrain with Angelo Moore from Fishbone, The Errorists, and Lake Lanier with Sid the Kid, sound system DJing. Saturday, October 12th, upstate New York denizens represent. We are coming up that way to play at Queen's Pins with RBNX, ID, Crazy Eddie, Redwoods, Leave It Behind, and Prize Fighter. It is $10 admission, only $5 donation with a donation of food or clean winter clothing. It is a benefit. Looking forward to getting out of the New York City area and playing to our friends in upstate New York. The very next day, we are back down in New York. ID is headlining Berlin at 25 Avenue Way. This is another one of Jesse Mallon's clubs, right on the corner of Avenue Way and 3rd Street. ID, Winterwolf, Midnight Foolishness, The Phoenix Within, and Gunk. We are doing it at Berlin. This is a very cool venue. It is free. It's all ages. See you there. Friday, October 25th at Generation Records. I am moderating the book event for Danny Lilker's Perpetual Conversation, 2nd edition book. Come on down. Whew. I'm moderating a lot of book events. What can I tell you? Saturday, December 7th, up at Bridge 9 Records, Stigma and Howie Abrams. I will be moderating Stigma's new book. And then, of course, the Holiday Slamboree, Sunday, December 2nd, at the Bowery Electric. Women of the Pit present Non-Residents My War, featuring members of Butterbrain, Neck Scars, Incendiary Device, and the Car Bomb Parade, playing selections from the American Hardcore Songbook with guest vocalists. Fire is Murder, Shoot the Five, and Serial Poets with former Lunatics DJ Cindy Halfrats. So there you go. Lots going on. Lots and lots going on. The Statue of Liberty. This is, I think this is one of Stephen Messina's all-time greatest flyers. As a matter of fact, I'm thinking about printing these up for the show and making these available for a couple of bucks. So that said, Queens rhymes with pins. Didn't I say that right? Queens pins? Queens pins? Am I pronouncing it wrong? I gotta get that right. That said, let's bring our questions from around the world. Perhaps you have a question for our guest. Go deep, get weird. We got a couple of minutes. Yes, he did. He did put the right date and time on that one. Let's bring our guest back on. Senor Rat. What's happening? Paulie Pork Chops asks, how did Tommy get the nickname Rat?
Back then, everybody had a nickname. You had Vinny Stigma, Jimmy Gestapo, and I picked Jimmy Contra.
That's right, James Contra.
James Contra,
yeah.
and I picked Tommy Rat.
Did you pick it, or was it given to you?
I picked it. I picked it.
It's
always a cool punk rock name.
Yeah, it's rare that you get to pick your own.
Well, that's what it was all about. You're given a name at birth. You're stuck with a last name, and then at some point you get to pick your own name.
Yeah.
Punk rock made that gave us that option.
Yeah, absolutely. Any questions, please post them. Let me ask you about this. This was in the material that you sent me, and thank you for doing that. What is the significance of this show?
That was just a flyer I had. I actually sang Power at this. What was that? No, that's the last CBGB show. No, that wasn't.
This is the last CBGB's hardcore show?
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah, no, I didn't do anything on that show. I didn't do nothing. That's the last one. That was just some stuff that I had on my web I had online that I was able to give you.
Right on. Good question, Rick Healy, 25 to life. Any good memories with Frenchie the Skin?
Oh, I got a good one.
Yeah, please.
We said we would be hanging out on St. Mark's Place outside the Holiday Bar and right near Stromboli's Pizzeria. Whenever a bus would come by, Frenchie would slam dance right into the bus and it stopped at a red light. He would slam dance right into the bus.
Wow, that's a good one.
At that time, he was a lot skinnier at that time.
Yeah, here's a shot. This is a weird photo that I found. This photo, I don't know where. One day, I reached down on the ground. It might have been outside of CB's matinee. I reached down and picked up just a photograph, and this is what it was. Isn't that wild? It's like Stigma, Frenchie, and Will Shepler. I found this photo. I don't know if it was just lying in the street one day. And I was like, holy shit. Yep. Frenchie's another guy that passed away very young.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. Found that. Like a hard copy. I found it. Any memories of Steve Pass?
I remember when I first met Paz, I thought he was just I thought he was a young kid, like a little kid. I thought he was a little kid. He wasn't even in high school yet when I first met him. He looked a lot younger than I thought he was, but I know that he was. But I found out that was much older as I got to know him.
Yeah,
he was always hanging around with the Reagan Youth crew.
I mean, when Steve Paz came around, to say he was a kid would be an understatement. He was like a child. He was probably 12 years old. He looked like he was 9.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
He was a lot younger than he looked.
Yeah, absolutely.
And he was smoking cigarettes at that age too.
Yeah.
So.
You sent me this one. This is a classic flyer, an '83 show. Any particular significance to this show? I was at this show actually. This was a great show. I was at this show.
Yeah. AF and Crucifix played. I think that might have been one of. No, that I don't know if that was one of Todd Youth's. I'm not sure if that was his first show or his second show playing bass with AF.
Crucifix killed it.
Oh, I know. They were awesome band. They were an awesome band.
They were great. I saw them play and I was like, they really blew me away at that show, Crucifix. They were really great. Here's another. This is a CB show. I think this is '83. I think you sent it. Oh yeah, because you're in the shot. This is an '83 shot. This is in the book, right?
Yeah.
What's going on here?
That's before Dishonor playing.
And there you are on the left.
Yeah.
And is that John sitting there in the front? Is that John Wrecking Crew?
Wrecking Machine. Yeah. Yes.
Wrecking Crew, Wrecking Machine. Yep. Yep. There you go. Good one. Another one from Rick. Any memories of Todd in Warzone? When any memories when Todd? I mean, Todd as a young kid, man, was a talent. He's a proficient musician as a very young kid.
Yeah, Todd came. Well, after we recorded what was going to be the Warzone album, the bass player Steve left the band, and Todd came in. Todd came in to play bass.
Yeah, I miss Todd, man. I really do. That clip at the beginning, he was a very talented guy. I miss, people come and go, but the thing, there's a shot of you as a young person coming to the shows, but the Todd Youth thing really still stings to this day.
I know.
Such a talented guy, man. Sucks, man. Wellington Jimenez. Hey, whatever happened to your bass player, Mr. Sinister?
Okay, that's Jeff. He's I think he's still out in Woodhaven somewhere working at St. John University.
Is that right?
Yeah, I think he is last I heard. He's still, he was still doing the same thing. He was still doing the same thing like when he first played with us, and then when when he last played with us.
Right.
I haven't talked to him. I haven't talked to him in a while. So I hope he's doing well.
You know what that reminds me of? It reminds me of and here I have, you sent me this flyer. I'm not sure what the context is, but hey, Whitney, good to see you. I was wondering if you were gonna stop by for the Tommy Rat today.
Thank you, Whitney.
Yep, thanks, Whitney. You sent this to me. Any significance or just something you had? Because
let's see what it is. I'll tell you. That was something I had.
Okay, so this is Agnostic Front, the High and the Mighty, the Out Group. We played together at the show place. This is, I think, '84. it sort of segues at what I was going to say is that about Mr. Sinister still in the same place. Nick Fury from The High and the Mighty, when we were teenagers, got a job up in the Bronx as a sort of like in a building called the Hayden on the Hudson. And then eventually he ended up being a doorman at the Hayden, right? Nick Fury from The High and the Mighty was a doorman at the Hayden when that flyer was done in 1984. To this day, 2024, if I ever want to reach Nick, I just call the Hayden. He is still a doorman at the Hayden from like 7 to 3 weekday afternoon, all these years later. And he could retire, but he likes the job and they love him there. So really interesting, you know?
Job security.
884-1234. Hayden on the Hudson. Yo, Nick, what's up? You know? Hey, Tommy Mahoney, ex-Blood for Blood. Hope you're well, my friend.
Hey, thank you, Mahoney.
Right on. Scott asks, any new hardcore bands Tommy's listening to or like? Are you listening to anything? Anything? What's on the playlist these days?
Pretty much like I still listen to the early stuff. I mean, I'm hearing much about a band called Drain. I'm hearing much about them lately.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And let me see. And some of the stuff, believe it or not, I like this band Turnstile. Some of the stuff that they do.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Turnstile's a very big band now. They're like an arena. Turnstile's going to be probably headlining arenas next year. You know, they're a big band now, but they're a great band, and they deserve their success. They worked hard, and they're a great band. So I like Turnstile as well. Are you in a new band? Which segues into my question. Thank you. The future. What's the future looking like? Any plans to play any music, or where do you stand with that?
Right now I'm just laying low from the music thing, but who knows? Who knows? Something could happen. Who knows? Like maybe find some people out here that want to do something, or who knows? Maybe make a trip to New York and do something with some friends up there. You know, if the circumstances are right.
Yeah, and chances are at some point there's going to be another Warzone get together. They happen every 5 to 10 years, right?
Yeah,
pretty much. So our guest today, Tommy Rat, his new book is Watching a Revolution: The Oral History of the New York Hardcore and Punk Rock Scenes as Witnessed by a True Fan. You could connect with Tommy and purchase the book at his Instagram page is at Tommy Rat. The book is going into production very soon. If you would like the book, reach out to him on his Instagram at Tommy Rat. New York hardcore veteran. Absolutely. That said, Tommy, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. My old friend.
Joe.
Yeah, my old friend. You're welcome back anytime. Anybody you want to thank? Okay. Anybody you want to shout out?
I just want to shout out to all the people that helped out with the book. Shout out to my mama bear, my sister, and that's about it. And everybody else that came on here to watch this interview. I thank everybody.
Thank you.
And most of all, I thank you, Drew. Most of all, I thank you, Drew, for inviting me.
Of course, I do it because I love it, and I appreciate you coming on the show. And you know, I always looked upon you as a music lover and a real New York hardcore historian, from one to the other. So thanks a lot, Tommy. Let's keep in touch.
You're welcome.
Take care.
You too. Thank you. Bye.
There you have it. Another one Another one in the books. Thank you. Hey, I want to just remind anybody out there, the show's in need of some support right now. There's a Patreon page. There's a PayPal address. You know, things are waning a little bit support-wise. Not that we're going anywhere, but you could certainly use some support. I also want to mention that we just announced the 350th episode, and that being Thurston Moore of Sonic Youth. So lots going on, lots of shows coming up. Thank you, everybody, for watching the show. Please, Alexander, anybody and everybody's welcome on this boat. There's the Patreon page. There's the PayPal address. It was a heavy, yes, thank you, RS. It was a heavy New York Hardcore episode today. We will see you in a couple of days. This Sunday, we will be back with Brian Gorsinger with his book, Ancient Artifacts. So there you go. Thanks a lot, everybody. Until next time, do good things, and good things will come to you.
Conditioned by indoctrination, conditioned by society. You're a victim of the digital age, a 21st century casualty. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone. Conditioned by misinformation, it's just the media telling us lies. Decipher fiction from the truth, society's slow and tragic demise. Open your eyes, you're losing control. Open your eyes, put down the phone.